the Paktika province of Pakistan, border town with, Paktika province of Afghanistan, a border town with Pakistan. And since then, it has been a thorny issue in U.S. military circle. So it would be unwise for U.S. to withdraw her forces, leaving Sergeant Baghdad behind. Sergeant Baghdad is what I can call a prisoner of war. So the swap is done in the right direction. These are prisoners of war, both the Taliban and Sergeant Baghdad. These are prisoners of war. In fact, any other country would have done the same. There is no issue, no need talking about negotiating with terrorists.
Professor, before you begin to talk about negotiating with terrorists, let's not forget that the 5 Taliban detainees have been considered, in Senator John McCain's words, the highest high-risk individuals, as he described them. You don't think this will create more problems for Afghanistan, considering that they're going to the polls soon?
Look, John McCain, Senator McCain, I believe he's playing politics with this swap. He's playing politics. Remember that he himself was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. And how would he feel if at that time he was left there in Vietnam? So it's not politics that man is playing. What Obama did is receiving accolades throughout the United States of America. U.S. people are in favor of the swap. So, but the Republicans who want to make a political capital, make a political gain for
Professor, Professor, I'm sorry to cut in here, but really, does this release, this prisoner swap, not create more problems for Afghanistan? The Taliban is rejoicing about the release, calling it a big victory for them. You don't think that would create much problem, especially as President Hamid Karzai had no idea that this deal was going on?
No. The U.S. did not want to actually make it very open. That's why they ignored the Afghan government. Rather, U.S. negotiated with Qatari officials, that is, government of Qatar. If the issue was actually brought to the knowledge of Afghan government, because the Taliban had no respect, had no faith in Afghan government, so there is no need even involving the Afghan government. Remember that in international politics, no permanent enemy, no permanent friend, but permanent interest. U.S. at any given time, any moment, is always looking for her own permanent interest. So whether Afghan government is angry or not angry, U.S. is seeking for her own permanent interest.
Understood, Professor, that the U.S. is understood. It's understood that the U.S. is seeking its own permanent interests. But in this situation, the U.S. will be pulling out troops by the end of this year, even though President Barack Obama says he's leaving behind 9,800, which is yet to be discussed with President Hamid Karzai. But releasing Taliban militants back home, you don't think that will cause any problems for Afghanistan?
No. First of all, U.S. had a deal with the Qatari government.
No, not the Qatari government. I mean the Afghanistan government, Professor. The release of the prisoners, you don't think that will cause more problems? I mean, wouldn't that give the Taliban an edge over the government as it prepares for elections?
Yeah, they will not leave Qatar for any other place, not even for Afghanistan. So, do you know that they have been in U.S. for over 10 years? And remaining there, they are not even useful to U.S. people. They are not even going to be tried in U.S. So the best thing is to use them to get what U.S. wants. What U.S. wants is to release Sergeant Baghdad. I think it is done in good faith. Never mind what the Republicans are saying, but this is a true, it's done in good taste and for the benefit of U.S. citizens.
Thank you so much, Professor Isaac Mbachu, for your thoughts on the matter. Professor Mbachu is a professor of political and strategic studies at the Nigeria Defense Academy in Kaduna. As a similar development, 4 people have been arrested in the Paris region in southern France on suspicion of recruiting militants to fight in Syria. The raids came a day after it emerged a Frenchman was being held by police investigating the murder of 3 people at the Brussels Jewish Museum. Mehdi Nemoche, a 29-year-old man, was arrested at a station in Marseille on Friday. Prosecutors say he has claimed responsibility for the attack and spent more than a year in Syria. There's no suggestion of a link between the 4 arrests on Monday and the detention of Mr. Nemouche, during a random check on a coach arriving from Amsterdam in southern France on Friday. However, Mr. Nemouche is said to have had links with radical Islamists and served 5 years in jail in France for robbery before being released in December 2012. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be looking at royals abdicating the throne. Spain's King Juan Carlos abdicates for his son, the Crown Prince Felipe. Please join us again.
Investigating, exposing, uncovering, reporting, hard-hitting interviews. Sunrise Daily, only on Channels Television.
Welcome back. It's to Watching the World today on Channels Television. Spain's monarch Juan Carlos of Spain has decided to abdicate. The 76-year-old is paving the way for a 45-year-old Crown Prince Felipe to take over. Juan Carlos was seen for much of his reign as one of the world's most popular monarchs, but recently many Spaniards have lost confidence in him. Our support for him fell further when it was discovered that he had been on a lavish elephant hunting trip to Botswana in April 2012 in the middle of Spain's financial crisis. The first announcement about the application from Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy, who told reporters His Majesty King Juan Carlos has just informed me, and I'm quoting him here, of his desire to renounce the throne and begin the process of succession. Later, the king himself said in a televised address that it was time for a new era in which a new generation could take on the transformations and reforms required. Well, King Juan Carlos is not the only monarch to have abdicated the throne in recent years. Let's take a look at the 3 most prominent abdications which happened in 2013, beginning in Belgium, where King Albert II, a 79-year-old, stepped down on July 21st, 2013, after a 20-year reign, becoming the first Belgian king to voluntarily abdicate. He passed the throne to his oldest son, Philippe. Also, the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, abdicated on June 25, 2013, was just 61 years old. His son, Sheikh Tamim, a 33-year-old, became the first such recent transfer of power in an Arab country. And finally, Dutch Queen Beatrix, a 75-year-old monarch of the Netherlands, abdicated on April 30th, 2013, in favor of her son, Willem-Alexander, after a 33-year reign. The Netherlands has had a history of abdications, though. Beatrix took over the throne on April 30, 1980, when her mother, Queen Juliana, abdicated on her 71st birthday. Juliana herself took the throne in September 1948 after her mother, Queen Wilhelmina, abdicated. The younger generation taking over. On to the Middle East. A new Palestinian unity government has been worrying the Israeli government. It's been sworn in, marking a key step towards ending a major rift between factions in the West Bank and in Gaza. The government comprising technocrats was agreed by Hamas and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas's father.